All right. What's up, DFSArmy? Wait to get a few more guys in here, but Mutt's joining me. 2-game slate. Baseball is back. I know Mutt's been making all that bread on these baseball cards, man. So I'm sure he's excited to get this back. So
it's like Christmas in July.
I'm telling you, man. Boost up some of these baseball cards that you've been accumulating, I'm sure. So you might have to flip them after every one of these games now, right?
Bo Bichette, loaded, yeah. Ready to go.
He's been having a pretty good.
He's a freak.
Intramural games here coming up before the start of the season, right?
Yeah, he's been crushing it. Vladdy hit an absolute bomb last night too.
Yeah, that was an amazing shot. But yeah, man, let's wait for get a few more people in here, and we will talk about pitching first, man. You know, 2 gamers. Anything we talk about today is going to be completely different than we talk about tomorrow with the massive.
Yep.
So don't take anything that we're talking about today and use it tomorrow, because it's not gonna be the same at all. It's completely different. They got these massive GPPs on DraftKings and Fanduel. I'm personally, I got the Domination Station up here on the right. We're going to go through Fanduel because that $3 price point is really nice. I wish it would be something they would hold on to all year. I think it allows more people to max enter that don't have mega big bankrolls. They are still a lot of tickets, especially on a 2-game slate. But still, you got to go after it, don't you?
I'll have to get in those. You can see those. I didn't even see those yet.
The $3?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
the tickets.
The DraftKings though. DraftKings has a $3 tonight, Friday, and I think Saturday.
Yeah, the free entry.
If you don't enter that, you just don't like money. I mean, you got to get into those things. Those are no brainer. But for the MME purposes tonight, we'll talk about FanDuel. Just with that structure, it's $10 on DraftKings. It's a little harder for most people to get in that if they want to. I think DraftKings still has the mini max tonight. I think it's $1.50 if people want to get in on that.
I think so. Yeah, they usually run those.
But yeah, man, let's first start talking about pitching a little bit for this 4-gamer. I know before we got on here, you talked a little bit about Cueto, man. Give us your thoughts on him, because
I think he can actually. Now, this is strictly GPP, obviously. I mean, I wouldn't be playing cash on a 2-game slate like this anyway.
Right.
But
I'd say all of our consideration.
You gotta have maybe 10% of them. I mean, he's not that far removed from. He's solid. Like, he's not going to K a ton of people, but I mean, he pitches the contact. He gets a lot of soft contact. Like I said, he's not going to K people, but I mean, neither is Kershaw really anymore. I mean, Kershaw's K rate keeps dropping every year, and he's cheap, and everyone's going to be stacking against him. So, I mean, it'd be kind of stupid not to take a few shots at him in GPPs.
Yeah, I mean, stupid cheap. You got to get a little different somewhere. I think I had around 5%. Am I just messing around with the Domination Station today? But I might bump that up to 10%. Let you get more of those Dodgers bats. Kershaw, though, I remember seeing old Raz talking a little bit this morning. He was mentioning that Kershaw's been really working on his changeup. So maybe we see some. I mean, he's facing just a pitiful lineup in the Giants, man. I mean, that's gotta be one of the worst. It's just absolutely horrendous how bad that line is.
I mean, outside of really. I mean, Pence and Flores, I mean, they hit lefties well, but other than that, it's a crapshoot.
I mean, and he's 10-3 Kershaw on FanDuel. I think he's 7-7 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I'm going to be pretty under on him on FanDuel, I think.
So I think he's probably going to be he's probably going to be the highest pitcher on DraftKings by far.
Yeah, price. They're like minus 310 favorites last I saw.
And
so, I mean, that's just crazy.
And it's just on DraftKings, just messing around with those 3 lineups because I think that's all I'm going to play over there today. I'm going to focus on FanDuel, but they priced everyone so cheap. You can play whoever you want. You don't have to play Cueto. You can stack the Dodgers. You know, I think everyone's going to play Kershaw and one of Scherzer and Cole. And
that's going to be the chalk.
That's the chalk
for sure.
So you don't want to do that. Raz just said Kershaw 19 Ks and 11 and a third inter-squad games against the Dodgers lineup. So,
see if it holds up.
I mean, again, you're still playing them. I'm probably gonna have a good mix on FanDuel of all those top 3 guys and a little bit of Cueto. But on a game, I had a question for you, and I was asking a couple guys in chat, and if we can figure out if say Johnny doesn't have it, you know. Or say maybe, you know, Kershaw should go just dominate this lineup. But what are your thoughts on a slate like this where you have well over 300,000 entries, right? And to take something like this, do you even try to take like a pitcher that you can kind of guess who would come in if someone's going to get blown up that could come in maybe and you just need those 2 innings and they get 3 or 4 Ks and you take a shot at that? Like,
on DraftKings, I think that's more in play, not really on FanDuel, for sure. Just because FanDuel with the quality start and win bonus, I mean, that's a lot of points to give up
if we were
a guessing game
further in the season and these guys being more stretched out. 100% agree.
Yeah,
I just trying to think about completely different here if something were to happen.
No, that's a great strategy, I think, especially on DraftKings.
Because I think a lot of people on this slate where they're going to get different, the casuals won't do it, but where they're going to get a little different is, and make sure you do it here on the Domination Station up here at the top, allow opposing pitchers. Make sure that is checked on a 2-game slate.
Yep, absolutely.
On a massive slate, no, but on this slate, you want to have hitters against your pitchers. And I don't care if there's 2 of them in there. Sometimes I don't care if there's 3 in there because you got guys like Scherzer who will go out there and will dominate a lineup, but he'll give up 3 bombs.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of that happened a lot to him last year too. Like he'll just make 1 or 2 mistake pitches and they just get absolutely crushed, and then he's dominant the rest of the game.
Yep, and we've seen it through his career, and he's facing a lineup just loaded with power. So you get a few of those guys in there, that's going to make yourself different. I think some people will go 1. Some of the sharps will go 1, but I don't think they'll go 2. I don't think they'll go 3. So if you want to be a little different, go that route, you know, especially on FanDuel where what was talking about, you know, if these pitchers are going to go deep, you'll find a couple of those guys that are, you know, like the Giants. The Giants are extremely cheap on FanDuel. 1 or 2 of those guys can get to Kershaw, and that could take you over the top because
and like I said, Pence and Flores both hit lefties well if they start. So
yep. And those are 2 great guys to have. The other thing on a 2-game slate like this, not only taking your batters against your pitchers, but what do you think about really going for it? And once we get a starting lineup, especially for the Dodgers, and we know how much Roberts wants to pinch hit every person on his team, like playing T-ball and everybody got to get a bat. What if what if it's Taylor that's starting and Kiki's off the bench, or vice versa?
Yeah, no, that's definitely worth a shot too.
And you put 5% in there, 10% or something crazy on it, but they got it. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a little tougher now that we have a DH in the NL too.
True.
Because it's going to be a little bit harder to predict who's going to pinch hit based on who's starting. But yeah, it's definitely something you're going to want to have some shares of on a 2-gamer.
2-game slates, you know, just on these 2-game slates. It's just going to be hard to be different, man. And if you're going to try to take that thing solo or tie with only a few people, it's not like a 2-game slate in the NBA where you might have, where you're going to have a lot more ties. Something like this with baseball, there's so many different ways to go.
You're going to have to get funky with your lineup combos too.
Yeah.
Especially in your stacks. Because I hate to tell you, if you're stacking 2, 3, 4, 5 of the Dodgers, you're you're going to be tied with a lot of people.
Yeah. Man, it's the chalk. It is the chalk. So not a bad deal stacking 4 Dodgers, but take one of the guys that you think might pinch hit. And I think Razzles might be dropping later. We get closer. We get some of these lineups that are confirmed, and we can kind of guess who might be the pinch hitters. Drop a little list in there.
Mine's not mine. My notes aren't done. I'm waiting for lineups too, but I got it. Pretty much everything's done based on who I'm projecting to start, but obviously I'll have to make changes based as lineups fall.
Yeah. I just, those are the main things I think you want to really think about doing to differentiate yourself. I don't care so much about stacking on a 2-game slate like this. By all means you can, but
it's going to be a weird combination that wins. It's going to be something that
you're like, why did someone come up with that?
Yep.
And unless the chalk actually hits, and then you're not going to win money anyways because you're splitting with thousands of people because the 4 chalky Dodgers went off, and you had Kershaw and he dominated, and then you found the 3 one-offs. So I'm not saying to fade that crap, but I think I'd try to just be even with the field when we finally get final ownership projections in the Domination Station, and then kind of see where the field is. And, if they're around the 50-60% mark, I'm not going to try to get over the field on them. I'll try to get those under-owned Dodgers that people are going to be as high on, and get your leverage that way.
I'm hoping Jock doesn't start, honestly.
Yeah.
You saw it so many times last year. He would pinch hit and just hit a bomb.
He's the perfect example of that. Yep. And the Dodgers are, because they got so much power. That lineup's just retarded.
I know.
It's just not. I mean, come on. When you get to that point, it's like if you don't win,
fair.
You're disappointed. No, it's not.
And they don't even have Lux either. That's the crazy part.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be pretty crazy, man.
If they don't win the World Series this year, then they just need to blow it up, start all over.
They should, with as much firepower that they have.
It's insane.
They really should. Like, there's no reason not to. I mean, that lineup is just silly. It doesn't matter lefty or righty you throw out there, they can smash you. So, and if Kershaw, like what Raz is saying, if Kershaw gets back to old Kershaw form or striking people out, oh man, because he didn't look that, real life pitcher, sure, but he wasn't K-ing people like he used to.
Yeah, no, he was rarely hitting double digits anymore.
So
his K rate was like 26%. It was up from 2 years ago. 2 years ago was like 23%.
Yeah, it's definitely was in the 20s. It's not up in the 30s like Cole and Max.
26.8%.
Yeah. So
and then Cole is 39.9, which is insane. And Kershaw, not Kershaw, Scherzer, 35.1.
Yeah, those guys were in the 30s. And then your boy Cueto, which you're a little nuts, but hey, you got to be a little nuts to do this.
If he can limit his pitches and like get some shitty contact, he can surprise. I mean, I don't think he's going unscathed by any means. Like, he's not going to go 8 innings and with 3 Ks and shut them down. That's just not.
No, you're hoping,
but
if he can get you a few Ks between the damage, then allows you to get but all the big bats got to do damage too.
Yeah, so that's what you're banking on there is he pitches well enough to where, and then you just kind of hope that Cole, Scherzer, Kershaw all give up a few bombs each, just not being in midseason form in July.
Yeah,
and then you can afford the bigger bats that not many people will have all of them together. That's how that's the way to win with Cueto. But the chances of him not getting blown up are not good either. So,
nope.
But that's what you need nowadays in GPPs where everyone has.
And again, if you're
access to all this info,
you're more than likely you should be playing 2 or 3 Dodgers against him.
Yep.
Because you would hope if you play him and those expensive Dodgers like Betts and Bellinger and those guys go off, you hope they suck the first 2 at bats, and then they catch fire like in the 6th inning.
Yeah, they do their damage late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're hoping for something like that. Again, on a 2-gamer, we'd never do this.
Yeah, no, not like tomorrow. Cueto wouldn't even be considered an option.
So, Yeah, setting this Domination Station up. I was just messing with this a little bit today with some of the features that we added where we could do these stacks, where we can add in. I love this because before you weren't able to do all your different stack combos. So you weren't able to do, a certain percentage of 4-4 or 4-3. Now, like on Friday slate, you're going to want 4-3 and 4-4. On big contests, that's how you're going to win GPPs.
Yep.
I like 4-3 the most personally, but 4-4 does work. Like 4-3, boost up some projections on the guys I want one-offs. I do prefer that, but 4-3, 4-4 is the most. I'll put like 50% on both, and that's how I usually run them, and I'll check the other stuff. On a 2-game like this, I don't even know if I'll run any of these stuff, or I might run, say, 10% of some of this stuff, and then let the projections just kind of dictate, if I want to go into the Domination Station, if I love some of these guys. If I like Mookie Betts and I don't like the projection of 14, I want to boost him up 15%, I might do that. Drop some, it puts them up to 16. It's a real easy way to get your one-offs to really hit.
Yep.
So if you find guys that you like that are not pushing, that are maybe not going to be in your stacks like on tomorrow, or guys that you're not popping, just hit this and hit the door button for 15%. It's a real easy way to do it. You can always come in here and put whatever you want as well. But that's a real easy way to do it. But again,
especially DK where you need to do at least 2.
Yes. Yeah. For DK, for sure. DK, again, on the big slates, we're looking at 5-2, 5-3 stacks.
Yep.
Which generally on the big contest. Don't mess around with this too much. But on slates like this, like you said, it could be funky. You could have a 3-3-2, or maybe you want to put in 20% of the 3-3 guys. There's just lots of ways to go here. And so I'm not really tied so much. I care more about, like, if I'm going to do some stacks, I do put things in here. Say I want to run 20% here, 10. Coming down to stack one team. I know there's a lot of people, again, say don't use the min percentage, right? But you're not going to get hardly any San Francisco stacks with their
I use it in baseball for sure. Not so much in NBA. I definitely use minimum in baseball.
And so
just too much randomization and variance in baseball.
You're going to want to force these guys in. So maybe for the first part of the stack team, I only want to have, like, say, 50% Dodgers, but I'll still force in 40% of them if they're not getting what I want. Same with San Francisco. Maybe I'll do something like that. And same on the other side. Again, it's a 2-game slate, so anything can kind of happen. Let me run 150 lineups. Now with this, it's automatically going to give you salary cap max and then 0 as your min. You can adjust this, but with this, you want to leave some salary on the table anyways. If you want to be completely different and think that the nuts are not going to be max salary, then you can always pull this down a little bit or put 34.5 or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But
gotta think outside the box on 2 games.
You want to be a little different. I always use tournament mode.
Me
again,
too.
You can use hybrid score, DFSArmy grades. I just leave it on fantasy points myself. It's a personal preference of what you want. And then 1 or 2 uniques for me on a small slate like this. On, like, tomorrow's slate, I might use 3. It's really personal preference. You get a lot of those questions asked all the time. Hey, what should we use for unique players? It depends on how tight your pool you want, man. Like, it really has nothing to do with what's the right answer or wrong answer. If you want a tight pool, use 1. If you want to spread things out, use 3 or 4. So,
plus it'll give you different percentages of ownerships that you may like better with 1, maybe 2.
And try it on.
You can even do both.
Yep.
Try it on both.
And see what you like. Randomization. I use this more in baseball than anything else, just because of how random everything is. Like stats, projections. It's baseball, man. Like, anything can happen. Trout can go 0-4. Bellinger can go 0-4 today and do nothing when he's the highest projected guy. So I'm usually between the 10 and 20%. I don't know about you, Mutt, when you do it, but that's generally where I sit.
Yeah, I'm usually between, like, 7 and 15.
Okay.
Just in that range usually.
So yeah, that's I would put in some of it. I really would for baseball, just because so many different things can happen. And again, we talked about allow opposing pitchers. Extremely important. Extremely important.
It's not even going to allow you to get 150 if you don't.
If you don't do it, it probably won't with some of the things that we're doing. And again, I always check the prioritized lineups. So one of the things, I'll run this first, but there's a button up here that says randomly select teams. I will hit this first, and we'll kind of see the percentages, and then I'll come back and hit this button, and you'll see how spread out it is. It'll be way better. Just that button alone will spread your ownership out more, and it won't be all consolidated on just a few teams. So I'll let this bad boy run real quick. Are you throwing anything in that $3 today?
Not today. No, I maybe like 10 lineups. I'm not maxing it today.
Yeah, I jumped on.
Not on a 2-gamer.
I wouldn't. I usually don't play these 2-gamers, but
tomorrow probably yes.
But see, tomorrow I'm different. I'll play extremely heavy cash games on these big slates. I love them.
Not a bad way to go either.
Yeah, I mean, what is it tomorrow at Fanduel at $3? It's $1 million up top. I mean,
is it? I haven't even looked at tomorrow's.
Yeah. So it's gonna be hard not to play it
today.
It's $1 million up top. So yeah, we're sitting here. I've done some of the min projections like on pitchers and whatnot. And as you can see, even using those, I'm getting a good mix of pitchers that I like. And look at that, only 2 catchers. Because in FanDuel, you don't have to play catcher.
You can do both, yeah.
You can do both. So if we look at just some of these, the player pool, what we got? Just like
there he is, my boy Flores.
37 guys. There he is, Flores, 61%. No Wilmer, man. He can crush him a lefty. So if you look at this, right, we have 37 players. You can kind of see the percentages, 83 and all that. Well, let's come up here real quick. And let's just tag this randomly select teams. And then let's rerun it real quick and then see what kind of percentage we have. It will spread it out way more. And I think this is what you want especially on tonight's slate. You want to have a little bit of everybody. I don't want to be over 60% on anybody, especially baseball. Even on a slate like this, I don't. I just think you got to get funky.
The more different possible combinations you have in baseball is, I think personally, that's usually how I win.
And with GPPs, how top heavy they are recently, you are going to want to shoot for the top 10 because you're not going to make any money if you don't. And like I talked about on another pod, 50 is the new 150. I generally play 50 lineups in GPPs now with how top heavy they are, because if you play 150 and I'm not hitting the top 10, I'm usually losing money anyways.
Yep.
So I like to stick at the 50 mark. Tonight's kind of a special thing for me. I'm playing 150 in here just because it's opening night. And it's a massive prize pool. And again, that $3 prize pool, or $3 entry mark is just, I remember they used to do it 2 or 3 years ago. Or maybe it was 2015. I don't know. It's been so long ago. They used to have those $3 and $4 all the time. But that was before they had the 150 max. You could run 500 lineups in there.
Yep.
So I think that was when, what was that guy's name that used to win everything?
Candia.
No, he was
Sahil Sud.
Sahil Sud was he play everything, man. He'd throw 500 lineups and everything. Yeah, no, Candia was the NFL guy, would just smash you all day long in the NFL. But yeah, so if we look at this now, we got 40 players, right? Pitchers are still about the same. But now if you look, we got 4 catchers.
Yep.
It spreads things out a little bit.
Definitely way more spread out.
Way more spread out. Flores was 60% before. Now he's 30%. So when we look at all these things, I like it a lot more. I mean, yeah, I still got 40% Jock and Bellinger's 46%. I just like the percentages way more. So if you're going to run and want things spread out, make sure this button's checked. It's new. This whole thing is new, the Domination Station this year. But that button there will spread you out more if you don't like to be so heavy on certain guys. And I didn't change anything. You saw that? I didn't change any of the.
No, you just click the box.
I just click the box, and it'll spread it out like that, which is good. I guess I should have came in here and looked at the stacks. I guess I can. I can go back to run 1 real quick and see.
I just see in the chat, Tom Liamata about possible rain for the Yankees-Nats game. Yeah, keep your notifications on.
Yeah.
Just in Slack, just because Mark is on top of that stuff.
Yeah,
and it's the first game, so we'll know.
Yeah, that's the good thing is it's the first game. I think he was talking about earlier. It's looking a little bit better, but we don't know.
Yeah, I know.
We've been posting stuff in there about how that affects games, but yeah, definitely be in the chat and make sure your notifications are turned on. That's a good point, man, because that will dictate things. So when you see this, going back to not having that box checked, you can see the combinations I had were basically all Dodgers against that, and then Yankees against Washington. If I come over to the second run, instead of just 4 different combos for the stacks, you'll see I got 6 now. There's not many people are going to run San Francisco and Washington as a stack.
Nope.
You know? And so this spreads things out more. I'm not saying you still don't have your Dodgers and against with all 3 teams, but not many people are going to run the Yankees and Washington and just stack that game up. So just a thing to keep in mind when you're running this thing to, again, if you want to be a little more spread out, check that box. And again, even using the min exposures here in baseball, this thing ran fine. It pulled out 150 lineups. It didn't choke on anything. So don't be afraid to use it with baseball because you're going to want to force some teams in that you normally don't do. And we got, 9% stacks on San Francisco on the first stack and then 20% on the second stack. So I kind of like it where it's at. Got about 50% Dodgers.
I wish freaking Fanduel didn't mess with the KBO structure and we could have used this.
Yeah, I think you and me and everyone. I was excited to play some KBO with this structure where we could have really got used to this tool. Fanduel does Fanduel things though, right? So what do you say? So I don't know, man. That's how I'm going to attack it. I haven't really messed around too much with how I'm going to. The big thing I think for me is those confirmed lineups and taking some chances on those pinch hitters.
Yep.
I think that's where you're going to get different. If you take 5% of some of these pinch hitters, and once we get confirmed lineups here in the Domination Station, if you don't see them, I'm going to go in and I'm going to put a projection on some of these pinch hitters just so they have something. But if you want to add a player, just go to the exclusion tab, roll over here, put a projection on him, and he'll move back over into the player pool. So if there's someone here that you, like we talked about pitchers, if there was a pitcher in here you wanted to take a shot at and move him over, by all means, just throw a projection on him, move him over, and then you're going to have to throw a min percentage on him, like if you want 5%, so it forces him into your lineups. Otherwise, you're probably not going to see him because you're not going to project a guy like that for very high. You're hoping.
No.
So, yeah, lots of ways to go.
Oh, there's Raz in the chat.
Oh, yeah, he's in there.
55 on 3.
He's throwing 55 and a 3, man. One of us got to take it down.
That's you guys. You guys can duke it out on that one. Maybe I'll play the quarter one.
I just want to see.
Just to mess around with the
take this down. More. One person's got to take it down from the Army. I want to see helmets up top, man. And, yeah, man. But that's all I got on the slate. It's like I said, it's kind of cut and dry where the chalk's going to be. You know where it's going to be. The big things, watch the weather.
Yep.
Make sure you stack against your pitcher to be different. And then if you want to get really, really crazy, find some of those pinch hit guys that you would never do in a 14-game slate, but you would on a 2-game slate.
Yeah.
And that might push you over the edge. But, yeah, man, you got anything for the people?
NBA's back next week, too.
Yes. Get in there, man.
I can't wait for that.
Extremely stoked for NBA. And it's like Christmas Day slates, man. I'm sure you looked at it every day, and they're all night long. And we will be in there all day, dropping news. I can't wait, man. No, I'm pumped. I'm pumped for NBA. And they got nice again. You see DraftKings and FanDuel on NBA slates, these opening night, like $4 price point with I don't know how much top prizes, but it's a ton of money. It's a ton of money.
Got to get everyone back.
Got to, man. Got to, and this is the best time to do it, especially in these first games that, people might not be watching some of these scrimmage games or paying attention to what's going on with these guys that are sitting out or leaving the bubble or they've got COVID and have to leave, where that usage is going to go. We'll have all that, man. So I'm pumped for it. Can't wait. And it's been too long, man. It's just hold on tight. There's so much DFS coming from now until the end of the year, especially if we get college football in and NFL. It's just going to be insane. So pumped, man. $1 million, he says. Yeah. So it's $1 million for the NBA up top. You got to play that, man.
Yep. That's happening.
Sell some cards. Get into that. Let's get after it.
All right. I'm selling all my Bull cards now.
There you go. Bulls. Here's a story for you. Sell the Bull cards. Put all that money in. Won $1 million. That would be fun. But with that, man, again, if you're not over at DFSArmy, get in there. We got everything up. We're going to talk all night long. We'll have your weather. And I want to see some helmets up top. If you guys don't win it, I hope I do. Talk to you later. Deuces.